Yo guys, and welcome to a new ranking. Today I will be ranking down the 5 movies within the Twilight franchise. Yes, so a movie theater near me did a Twilight marathon and I went to it on my own. I'm making great life choices, and the reason I went to this marathon because they were also airing, or another movie theater was also airing a marathon for the 50 Shades films, so I had a choice between very bad or incredibly bad, and I decided for myself that 50 Shades wasn't even worth it. I have only seen that first 50 Shades movie, I haven't seen anyone else or any one of the other 2 films, so if you really want me to watch that one, you better give me some support on this video, because otherwise I will definitely skip 50 Shades for the rest of my life. But today, Twilight, I also thought that these movies were kind of ass, and I wasn't really looking forward to any of this, but I thought to myself, like, okay, seeing them in a movie theater can be fun, so let's just go. And my honest opinion on it, it's not as bad as I expected it to be, because I had never seen that last film in my life. I had seen the rest, but I couldn't remember anything from those films. But the last one I had genuinely hadn't ever seen before, so there was that. Alright, so it wasn't as bad as I expected. Was it good? Absolutely not. Don't get me wrong on that. Was it laughably bad? Yes. So I genuinely had a really good day. I was conflicted and I was very, very angry at one point. And I will get to that later because we are now going in to my ranking. And in 5th place, I have decided to put the Twilight Saga New Moon, the second one of the franchise. And the reason for it is because I genuinely thought there were some nice things happening in it. But there was a point where I was asking myself, okay, when are we going to get to the plot of this film? When are we going to see what this movie is actually going to be about? What is this movie leading up to? Because we have been watching this for quite a while already. Where are we going with this story? And then the movie ended. And it was just that. There was nothing happening in this film. And it was really boring, really bland. Nothing happened. This entire film could have been resolved in like 5 minutes if these people just talked for a second. This is also the film where I am starting to hate Jacob for what he's doing, and I'm kind of a Jacob hater on this film. He's like a big fucking horn dog, only he actually is a dog. So yeah, that is really annoying. And in this film I started to really, really hate Jacob, and the reason for that is that he wasn't as much in the original film. But, you know, a hatred for Jacob, 2 people who should just fucking talk to each other, and a plot that was just non-existent, made for a movie I genuinely really didn't like and thought was incredibly boring. In 4th place, I have decided to put the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1. This film, I remember a lot of things from this. I have seen this one quite recently, which means 15 years ago maybe, but no, that's not even possible. The film isn't even out for 15 years, around 10 years ago maybe. And I genuinely really remembered some of the stuff that happened in this film. And this one kind of suffers the same problem as the previous one does, because, well, there's no plot in this. Okay, I get why they decided to put this film or split it into 2 parts, because the story of this book genuinely has enough content for making 2 films. I feel like if they made 1 film of this, it would have been rushed. But the way that they dragged some of the things in this one out were so incredibly bad. Like, the entire start is nice. You have these horn dogs trying to horn each other up for 4 films, so when they finally get the moment, it feels earned, it feels nice, it feels good for them, and you are happy for it. But then the entire pregnancy thing happens, and I'm happy with the pacing of this film because the pacing genuinely was really fast, and I'm also very happy with the story that they decided to put with the werewolves going against the vampires, because that shit's actually quite worked in my opinion. Jacob wasn't as annoying as he ever was, but he still had some very annoying moments. But it could have been worse in all the aspects. It's just still very boring, and also nothing happens. And the ending of this film, you don't really care about it anymore in that point, but it set up some nice things for the future, for that last film. But up until that last 5 minutes, there wasn't even really anything going on with this film. In third place, I've decided to put the Twilight Saga Eclipse, the third film of the franchise, and the reason for it is because this one, for me, is nicely in the middle of everything. It's still very bad, it's still fairly boring, it still has that same Jacob versus Edward thing that is going on, and in this one, it's really clear that it is Team Edward, and well, Team Edward without Bella, because Bella is an asshole in this one as well. Jesus fucking Christ, she makes some horrible choices in this film, but it's better. It starts to get interesting. You really start to care for these characters. This is also the film where I really started to feel bad for Charlie, the father of Bella, because wow, that man goes through it in this franchise. And the final battle, the final half hour, maybe 20 minutes of this film are genuinely really interesting, really entertaining, and I genuinely really liked what they did with that. So the journey towards that last 20 minutes is a little bit rocky, is not that great, is mostly annoying and a little bit boring, but the last 20 minutes kind of saved the entire film for me. In second place, I've decided to place the original Twilight. The Twilight Saga Twilight. This film is not that bad. This film actually is really okay. It's not great in any means. It has some atrocious acting from Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson. No one is great in this film, but it has some nice side characters that are keeping the film interesting. Whenever the plot kicks in, whenever they start horning each other up, their romance kind of doesn't work. Whatever they are doing with that is interesting enough. Jacob isn't in this movie a lot, so that is also a really great thing because I hate Jacob's character. And in the end, they decided to put a little bit of stakes in the film, and the stakes they put in there are interesting enough, are good enough. I feel like they forgot about some of these villains, but they came back in the sequels, and one of them actually got a big fight in the third one, so I wasn't as mad in the end about it. So yeah, this film had some great things happening in it, but it's mostly just some good things splattered in a mediocre story with awful performances. So it has all the good stuff and the good fluff, but in a poorly executed way. So that's why this one is in second. And in first place, of course, the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2, my favorite of the bunch. And the reason for that is because in the end, I was genuinely thinking to myself, goddamn, this one actually is kind of good. I enjoyed all of the new characters. I enjoyed introducing them and how they were introduced and why they were introduced. I still feel like they should have been introduced a lot sooner in this franchise than just shoehorning everyone in the last minute, but I genuinely really liked every character that is out there. There is some hilariously bad acting and some hilariously bad CGIs and CGI babies in this. So it's incredibly bad with moments that make this movie the more fun. Everything that they are doing with the vampire stuff, now that Kristen Stewart has it as well, they can do a lot more with it. There wasn't a budget for it, so it really looks incredibly goofy, and that was also really fun. So I had a genuinely really great amount of fun with this one, and I was expecting to give this one 3.5 stars because it genuinely was really good. And then that final fight scene happened, and that final fight scene was great in my opinion, and I loved it. And then they did a very fucking plot twist, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, that it never happened, and it was all in her head or in his head. And I was so incredibly mad when that happened, when none of the stakes that happened in that final battle. I did think a lot of people died, and maybe even too many people died in there, but still I was very mad when it was apparently all fake, and I couldn't deal with it, and I was ready to hate this film. I was genuinely really mad, and the reason that I was genuinely really mad made sure that I started to accept the fact that I was actually invested in this film, which is very sad that I was invested in this franchise, but they kind of did it. And even though they made me mad, I can respect that they had me. And that's that. I genuinely really like this film. I thought it had some very atrociously bad things, but also very good things. And it made me mad, which is even better because, Jesus Christ, this franchise managed to get an emotion out of me. So that was my ranking for the Twilight Saga franchise. Jesus Christ, these cats are going at it. So what did you think of this franchise? Please let me know in the comments down below. What's your ranking of these films? Please let me know. I'm very excited to hear your opinion on it. I want to thank you for watching and I'd like to see you in the next video. Thank you and bye bye.